What is Ipamorelin? What are the benefits? How should you use it? Should you take it? In this video, I answer all of your questions about the magical peptide Ipamorelin. Ipamorelin, this is something I've been taking myself for a couple years off and on with the recommendation from a doctor. Should you be taking this and how do you take it? In this video, we're gonna go over everything you possibly need to know. Now, Ipamorelin is a peptide that's been shown to be effective in increasing your levels of growth hormone. Growth hormone can help you add muscle tissue, increase your workout capacity, and even burn fat, and yes, even help you sleep better and more sound. Ipamorelin has also been shown to even just make you prettier. I know I'm really pretty. Look at my skin right there. It helps with sleep quality, helps reduce the signs of wrinkles and even depression symptoms, something I still struggle with every single day. Now, there's only really one drawback of Ipamorelin, and it's not huge side effects, but it has a very short half-life, so it needs to be injected pretty much every single day. My doctor recommends that I take it Monday through Friday or 5 days a week, whatever you want. So since it has that short half-life, it needs to be injected on a more frequent basis. In other words, you need to inject frequently in order to get the positive benefits and results from Ipamorelin. So what exactly is Ipamorelin? Now, Ipamorelin is a GHRP, growth hormone-releasing peptide with an added N-terminal. That's, let me look it up right here, pyrrolidine group. I don't know, we're gonna have to put that on the screen because I can't even say it no matter how many times I practice it. Now, this makes it a more stable compound and resistance to breakdown in the body, which is a good thing. Because when you compare other GHRPs like GHRP6 and GHRP2, you're going to need less of it in your cycle. Now, the added pyrrolidine, I still can't say it. This is a ring that essentially gives Ipamorelin some unique properties, such as increased lipolytic or fat burning. Lipo is fat, lytic, we're going to be burning right there. Let's check that out. And the effects of the prolonged elevated levels of HGH after the injection due to its resistant nature being cleared from the body quickly. Now, these two factors are the greatest factors for fat loss benefits while using Ipamorelin. Now, Ipamorelin can also have some very good synergistic effects when used with other peptides and compounds such as GHRP2 and GHRH, which analogs or GH increasing the releasing of peptides. Now, when used in these stacks, Ipamorelin kicks the cycle into overdrive. Essentially, it's like putting nitrous in a car, just moving fast, and we accelerate the fat loss and muscle gain. I know I use Ipamorelin with another peptide called CJC1295. Some of the benefits of Ipamorelin are increased rate of protein synthesis. That's a good thing. Improved insulin sensitivity. Yes, we want to be insulin sensitive instead of insulin resistant. So when we're taking those carbohydrates, we don't have as high of a spike of the insulin in our sugar levels, essentially. Reduced intramuscular fat level, increased overall metabolism. It also stimulates release of growth hormone, which we talked about, and insulin-like growth factor. Increased energy levels, improved skin tone, reduced wrinkles. Yes, I love that benefit right there. That's not a side effect, that's a benefit. Improved sleep quality. I know I sleep like a baby when I'm taking this. Reduced depressive symptoms, which is actually one of the best things, if you ask me, why to take Ipamorelin. Now, Ipamorelin itself is a great compound to take if you want to add muscle tissue and increase those growth hormone levels. But when used in conjunction with another peptide such as CJC1295, these effects become exponential. Now, the synergistic effects of Ipamorelin stack can lead you to adding a lot more muscle tissue and have those ripped six-pack abs. Oh, you can't. Can you see that on the screen? I promise they're there. We can flash a picture of me up on the screen. I do have abs. Now, the main benefits of Ipamorelin or something like GHRP6 is that it has very lasting effects. Now, by adding this ring, once again, pyrrolidine ring, we're going to call it pyrrolidine. Essentially, this is going to have your half-life around 7 hours in the body. So, which is much longer than GHRP6, and it has, since it has a longer half-life, means it's more stable than growth hormone in your system, and a prolonged anabolic effect, so you can add that muscle tissue and get great workouts as compared to other GHRP stimulating peptides. So how does growth hormone work? Now, Ipamorelin is a peptide that increases the release of GH or growth hormone, IGF-1, insulin growth factor 1, and lowers the somatostatin, that's another hard word to say, which allows for increased muscle gains, fat loss, and recovery. Now, it can also reduce cortisol levels in the body, which can protect you from becoming catabolic. Catabolic just means muscle wasting or using muscle tissue as energy, which we don't want. Now, when Ipamorelin is used in conjunction with other peptides such as GHRP2, GHRP6, or as I said, CJC1295, all these different names and abbreviations, you'll see extremely powerful synergistic effects and accelerated fat loss with that muscle gain. What kind of results can you expect from taking Ipamorelin? Ipamorelin stacks well with other peptides, as I've mentioned several times before in this video. You'll get lean muscle tissue gains without really any side effects. I haven't noticed any. Injections, sometimes I get a little bit flush, but that's really the only side effect that I've actually noticed. Now, this peptide is excellent for people who want to lean out, add muscle tissue, and especially when you're leaning out, reduce the risk of losing potential muscle tissue. Now, if you're specifically on a cutting cycle, you may want to stack it with something like exomestane, another thing I'm probably not pronouncing properly. It's basically an aromatase inhibitor, which makes it perfect for those cutting cycles. Now, Ipamorelin is also great for the metabolic enhancement. So if you're getting ready to compete, go on stage. I used to compete. I didn't have access to peptides at the time. I probably would do so. Or if you're looking to get ready for a photo shoot, Ipamorelin can really help you burn that extra body fat and look as lean and dry as possible. Now, if you combine this with another compound such as Hexarelin or GHRP6, this will give you even faster results without having to inject large doses of HGH itself. How long until you see results on Ipamorelin? Now, results won't be seen overnight. You're not going to take this and wake up and look like the Hulk. That'd be nice, right? I don't want to be green. Do you want to be green? But it can take a few weeks for the user to see any real changes, and you might start feeling changes better. Now, after a couple of days, you might start noticing that your sleep quality is better, which sleep is directly correlated with, making sure you regulate your circadian rhythm, your metabolism, and all other hormone levels. So don't shy away from taking Ipamorelin because that really helps with your sleep right there. Now, full benefits, you probably start noticing a few weeks or even as short as 2 weeks after taking Ipamorelin. What's the dosage of Ipamorelin? Now, the recommended dosage depends on the individual and what your doctor is recommending. I know for me, I take a very, very low dose because I'm not trying to get massive and huge. I'm trying to limit the amount of HGH so I'm in my normal levels for my age. Now, if you look at the manufacturer recommendations, it's anywhere from about 100 micrograms per day, which is probably taken before bed on an empty stomach or in the morning on an empty stomach. Now, you're going to be doing this for probably 6 weeks, and sometimes it's combined with other things such as GHRP6 or GHRP, and sometimes people take this even for months on end as long as you're getting regular blood tests. Where do you inject Ipamorelin? So it's recommended to inject peptides. You can do it in the buttocks, fun to say, which is probably the easiest way, right in the skin, around the belly button, about 2 inches away. You can do it in the upper arm. Some people even do it in their quad, but injection is just really under the surface of the skin. It's a small, tiny insulin needle. It doesn't go right into the muscle tissue like a big syringe would. Now, what is the half-life of Ipamorelin? Well, half-life basically means how long it's active and stays in your system. So Ipamorelin has a half-life of about 2 hours, which means that it's probably going to need to be taken several times a day, depending on what your doctor recommends. So 2-hour half-life, which means about 4 hours afterwards, it's going to have less and less in your system, but not to worry. Even if you're only injecting once a day, there's still active forms of that Ipamorelin in your system and will be stored away when you need it later on in the day. Do I need to take anything else with this particular growth hormone peptide? So in order to see the best results, you need to make sure your diet is on point, your workout program is on point, and you're training hard, lifting weights at least 4 days a week. What I recommend when somebody's taking a peptide that's increasing the growth hormone is they start lifting pretty heavy, right? If you can't lift heavy where you're going anywhere from like 1 to, let's say, up to 8 reps, where where you're going really high to that percentage and intensity of 1 rep max. If you're doing higher reps and you have lighter weights, make sure you go to that volitional failure where you can't do 1 more rep, even if somebody was holding a gun to your head, okay? So you're really getting that stress, that damage, and that tissue breakdown from the working out, right? So we've got that metabolic stress, mechanical damage, and the tension associated with that actual working out. Now, recovery, very important, so you can add some additional supplements like glutamine, branched chain amino acids, essential amino acids, which can help with that recovery. There's also something called HMB, which I recommend people taking, that prevents catabolism or muscle tissue breakdown. You take that about 30 to 60 minutes before a workout. That can be tablet form, that can also be powder form. A pre-workout supplement, one of my favorites, creatine, one of the most studied supplements in the world. You can take creatine pre-workout, you can take it after workout, just make sure you have around 5 grams per day. That'll really help your workouts and your recovery as well, okay? Make sure you get most out of every single workout, and of course, your sleep is very important too. Now, are there any potential side effects with Ipamorelin? So there are 3 potential side effects. Those are headaches, often pain within the injection site. I know when I'm doing it in my stomach, it's actually a little more painful than when I'm doing it somewhere in my glute, but often those subside within the first couple of days. There's also potential that you could experience some fatigue towards the end of that Ipamorelin cycle. So this fatigue will often just dissipate within several weeks after getting off of the cycle. Now, Ipamorelin is one of the leading growth hormone releasing peptides, and I want to take something, or I want to recommend something, obviously talk to your doctor, I can't say that enough, that I'm taking myself and I've used on myself, and I've had all sorts of doctors talk to me about this. You can go and listen to my Fat or Future podcast where I had Dr. Alexander Pagiotopoulos talking about peptides 101. Now, Ipamorelin is a peptide that mimics growth hormone releasing hormone, or GHRH. Now, when it binds to receptors in your pituitary gland, it releases this growth hormone. Depending on what you're looking for, Ipamorelin may not be as effective as taking something like synthetic growth hormone or growth hormone releasing hormone. Man, that's really hard to say in one sentence. Now, if you're looking for a safer alternative, then Ipamorelin is perfect for you. I also have some other interviews about peptides on my podcast, so you can go ahead and check that out. I'm releasing more videos every single day on this YouTube channel, so you know how to do all the same things. Subscribe, share. Let me know questions, comments, concerns below. Thank you so much. My name is Joey Thurman, at Joey Thurman Fit on all social media channels, and Joey Thurman Fitness here on YouTube. Cheers, be well.